Hey gang, your old pal Clay here, Mountain Music Exchange, and today we're going to check out the Fender American Ultra 2 Stratocaster. Alright gang, as you can tell already by the intro, in my hands here is a brand new Fender American Ultra 2 Stratocaster. It is in the triple single configuration. There is also a hum single configuration on that as well. And this is a very neat, interesting, sort of subtle list of upgrades that I think really kind of add up to make some really cool overall improvements to the Ultra line, which was already pretty darn cool. The one I'm holding here is in Noble Blue. Now, I've also got Ultra Burst here as well. These do have some subtle upgrades, but before I get into any of that, I do want to make mention, one thing I noticed about these Ultra guitars, it always cracked me up with the first Ultra line and now these, is everything on these guitars is Ultra. It is the Ultra version of everything. It cracks me up. It's not wrong. It's actually pretty factual in that everything is really improved, modified in a way that necessitates or at least validates the word ultra. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so this neck finish here, right, is the Ultra satin finish, right? This bridge, I think the big difference here is it's sort of got that deluxe style pop-in bar bridge, but now this is the Ultra bridge, Ultra synchronized tremolo, just a very ultra guitar. The pickups here are ultra noiseless too. So I don't know, at some point I figure maybe like because this is an anodized pick guard, maybe this will now be the Ultra pick guard. This will be the Ultra S1 switch. These will be the Ultra locking tuners, Ultra water slide decal logo. But no, in all seriousness though, really, these are just very player-centric guitars in that there are a lot of modifications from what you would consider like on a standard Strat to be. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this Noble Blue rather than the Ultra Burst. One, because I just think this color is gorgeous. It reminds me of, if you remember the last Ultra series, Cobra Blue, but a little more dark. Like there's a little more depth to it. And it's got a really good sparkle to it, a really good metal flake. I'll get you guys some close-ups of that right now too. One thing I noticed here, pictures do not do these pick guards justice online. If you were just looking at this picture online on like a stock photo, you know, from Fender's website, perhaps even our website if we don't have it as a demo model, it just looks like a black one-ply pick guard. But even this pick guard here on this one and the Ultra Burst as well, and I think every other model that I've had hands on so far, they're anodized, so you really get a cool look with these. Fender's been really leaning into the anodized pick guards lately for whatever reason, and I'm here for it. I really like anodized pick guards. Some of you may disagree, and that's fine. I don't blame you. I think they look great. I like the metal. It just adds sort of an air of quality, in my opinion, to the guitar over your traditional plastic pick guard, especially versus like a plastic one-ply pick guard, for example, right? You do not get how good this looks in just a photograph. So anyway, let's go top to bottom and then let's play this sucker and see how it sounds, gang. Starting off at the top, you have, of course, your standard Fender style, Stratocaster style headstock here. You have a really cool gold Fender logo there that I think is really good looking actually on this guitar. It sort of does add that little extra touch of, hey, this is something slightly different than your average Stratocaster, right? You have Fender locking tuners here, and you also have a Graphtec Tusk nut here, which is self-lubricating, and so you shouldn't ever have to find yourself doing that little pencil thing where you take a pencil and you mark the inside of your, you know, I'm sure you've all done it before, or you've at least seen it on a guitar somewhere or another. Just to get the graphite in there, to get it back and forth. This nut's all graphite, so it's fine. You have a quarter sawn maple neck with a slim, like a D profile, although it does still feel very rounded. It does have some interesting shoulders here. They're a little flatter, but you can see I can get my very small hands all the way around it as you even get closer to the body. So it's very accessible to pretty much any player here. You do get an ebony fingerboard with pearloid inlays. Now, if you get the maple board, that's going to have black pearloid inlays. I'll get you a close-up of that from when we have it on the floor. That is a very good look. The reason I don't have that one out on the floor is it is an HSS model, and I think that may end up being a separate video. But one thing I noticed about the ebony here on this is it is very, very dark. It is more along the lines of what you would traditionally consider ebony to look like. You do still see some grain here in this guitar. It's a good look. Overall, it still looks like ebony with a very subtle striping to it, so it's very unique in that aspect. With this fingerboard here, you do not get the standard 7 1/4 or 9.5 inch radius fingerboard. What you do get, however, is a 10 to 14 compound radius fingerboard on this, so it will allow for extremely low action, extremely serious bending. We're going to put that to the test later as well, and it's just another touch that is sort of separates the Ultra from a standard line or an American Pro 2 line or anything like that. You have Ultra 2 noiseless pickups here from Fender. They sort of continue to expound upon the traditional noiseless style in that it's got like this magnet that is sort of not connected to anything but keeps the hum away. And Fender's really worked on that a lot over the years. A lot of folks, you know, early on in the noiseless days said, you know, they don't sound traditional. They don't sound like a traditional Strat pickup. So Fender has worked tirelessly over the years to keep coming out with new iterations of this pickup that come closer and closer and closer to that Strat sound that you sort of know and love and associate with the 50s. And before I get too far ahead of myself, I would like to mention, because I've been looking at these the entire time, check this out. Lumen inlays on the side. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I do not remember if the previous Ultra series had lumenlay inlays, but that is a cool touch, and I'm going to do my very, very best to get you a close-up shot of those in the dark so you can see really how effective they are at illuminating in the dark. But if you are on a stage that is dimly lit, or you're at a certain point where the stage lights are low, but you still need to kind of have some idea where you are, this is a lifesaver. I kid you not. They are very, very cool. They glow in the dark, they light up when you look down. I just think it's a neat touch that Fender didn't have to do. I think they could have probably just not done this at all, really, and still gotten away with it scot-free. No one would have said a word, but it's a nice add-on that really does make this sort of a player-centric guitar, especially when you're thinking about live scenarios, right? And then, of course, your standard sort of your Strat body with the contours. Now, this one does have some extra contour, but the contour is going to be found in the back. You can see you have the Ultra access here, right? And you have the bolt plate that sort of rounds out, which has kind of been a thing really for deluxe models for a very, very, very long time. But something else you can notice here that I don't think was on those earlier models is the way that the angle of the body comes out from the neck. It's no longer like a hard step, or if it is, it's not as much. So you can still kind of get a lot of access fairly easily down here without having to struggle too much or bump your hand on the squared off bolt plate, that sort of thing. And along with the anodized pick guard, you also do get an anodized back plate here as well. But I love the contour here and the curves, and you can see where this angle starts to come up toward the body so that it's thinner here with this curve, which I think actually is a very elegant and nice look to the guitar as well. It's not necessarily as deep or as thin near the bolt plate area as, say, maybe a Jackson guitar or something like that might be. It is still very much more accessible than it was. You get factory strap locks here, and the remainder, of course, will come in the case. Now, the case that you're going to get with that is the standard sort of deluxe molded plastic TSA compliant flight case, which is, you know, just a cool case. I think they're rugged in a way that a wood case is not necessarily. It reminds me of that sort of SKB style case, which I think is just a good look. And of course, again, as I mentioned before, you do get your 2-point synchronized tremolo with cold rolled steel saddles and a pop-in bar on this one. So last but not least, of course, is the S1 switch here. Now, what does the S1 switch do on a triple single? Oh, wait, before I get into this, these knobs right where you grip, let me know in the comments below if this is on the previous Ultra, but I don't believe so. These knobs have like a rubber around them, and they are super, super grippy. I really like that. Looks like you have your no-load tone control here, so you can actually take it sort of to 10. You can feel it click into place. Anyway, sorry. Back to my original thought. The S1 switch here is going to activate the neck pickup in any of the non-neck pickup positions, meaning from middle to middle bridge or bridge, you're going to have access to that neck pickup, which means that theoretically in the right position you can run all three pickups at once, which is not a typical thing to do on a Stratocaster. You know how the switch normally works. It's, you know, here, 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 and here, but not all three at once. So being able to run all three pickups at once does offer the opportunity for a unique sound. We're gonna check that sound out and see how that works for us in just a little bit. So again, without further ado, actually, let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna be using a Line 6 Helix. To get the point across, I'm gonna play a good healthy dose of clean with a little reverb for depth. And then I'm also going to be playing some gain, which will, one, let you hear what this sounds like with gain, and two, show you how noiseless these pickups really are. The amp models I'm going to be using are the US Princess, which is sort of like a Princeton type model, and also the Brit 2203, which will sound more like a Marshall JCM 800. And we will really get an idea of what this guitar can do under multiple different circumstances and how this thing sounds as a complete package. So gang, without further ado, let's take Noble Blue for a spin. right, gang, that was the American Ultra 2 Series Stratocaster in single configuration. Let me know what you think about the sound of that in the comments below, specifically as it relates to activating all three pickups. I was pleasantly surprised. When I went into this, I kind of thought maybe it would end up sounding like a muddy mess with all three pickups activated, but it actually sounded more clear and more balanced than I initially had anticipated. So I thought that was pretty neat, pretty interesting. I guess when you get this combination of sort of the lows that you get here and the high frequency from up here with that no load all the way up, I thought it was pretty good sounding in both scenarios, actually, with gain and without. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, gang. Don't forget to check us out at mountainmusicexchange.com. And it is getting a little chilly out here as of the recording of this video. Not sure about there, but we do have hoodies and long sleeve shirts on the website for you to check out. You can also check out the entire line of in-stock Fender American Ultra 2 guitars there as well. And don't forget, if you see it on the website, we have it in stock. So check us out also on TikTok, check us out on Facebook, and check us out on Instagram. Gang, I think that's gonna have us on this one. I really enjoyed playing this guitar, and hopefully I will enjoy playing the HSS just as much. But until then, I'm Clay, you rock, and wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make it loud. See you, gang.